Hello there, everybody. Pastor Charlie Rizzo. Well, let's get right into it. Psalm 102. I hope you have your Bibles. I have a little study for tonight, today, this morning, whenever. Uh, the very stones cry out. You know, Jesus, on that faithful Palm Sunday, the Pharisees were griping to him that the children and other disciples were all praising the Lord, and they begged Jesus to have them be quiet. And he said, "Look, if they're quiet, the stones will cry out." That's turned out to be a prophecy when it's come to archaeology. We'll look at that in a minute. Psalm 102, verse 13. You will arise and have compassion on Zion, for it is time to show favor to her. The appointed time has come. For her stones, rocks, are dear to your servants. The very dust moves them to compassion, to pity. And the nations, the Goyim, will fear the name of the Lord. For when the Lord builds up Zion, or when the Lord restores Zion, he will soon appear in his glory. NIV, for the Lord will rebuild Zion and appear in his glory. It can read from the Hebrew, when the Lord builds up Zion, he is about to appear in glory, which we believe to be the second coming of Messiah, Jesus. The very stones are dear to your servants. Now, John chapter 4, Jesus meets the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. We don't have time to go there, but the point that Jesus made there was neither on this mountain, the Samaritans, who were the half-breed offspring from the Assyrian captivity, the 10 tribes of Israel, were not looked upon very well by those from Judah, Benjamin. So they had their own place, you know. But this is where God really worked on Samaria. And so she kind of boasted to Jesus about that. You Jews worship in Jerusalem. We Samaritans worship here. And then Jesus said, the time is coming that we don't have to go to a specific place to worship the Lord. And so that's us, the church age, this mystery that Paul said, Ephesians chapter 3 and other places, Peter comments on it. The Old Testament prophets didn't realize about this church age thing to come, which is almost done, by the way. And so you don't have to go to Jerusalem as a believer. But Christians have been drawn to retrace the footsteps of Jesus long back before even Helena, Constantine's mother, went to the Holy Land and they found sites, you know, that kind of thing. But she really, we owe her a lot of gratitude simply because we wouldn't know where a lot of places were if it wasn't for her. And but even before that, pilgrims wanted to go see where the Lord was crucified. Where was this Sea of Galilee? Mark Twain had a not so pleasant visit in his time, but I assure you it's a lot different now, especially since the rebirth of Israel and the reuniting of the divided city of Jerusalem, now the capital of Israel, which is bringing the ire of the world against it, and probably World War III when Islam gets going with this stuff. All right, the stones are dear to her. Why? Because stones mean evidence, not superstition. Like I said, you don't have to go there to love God, to be loved by God. And I'm not even going to say you're missing something, although I can't say that with a straight face because you are missing something. But it's not this, the height of living to go retrace the footsteps of Jesus. But boy, it's great if it can be done, and many have been blessed by it, and many throughout the centuries gave their lives just trying to get there before coach cliffs. All right, stones, dear. Why? Well, for us, I think stones mean evidence. the Bible is a record. Then we have another gospel, if you will, archaeology, biblical archaeology. It's an amazing tool for the defense of the Bible. Now, I'm always assuming those of you watching now are believers anyway, and you accept the Bible. There are those perhaps watching that don't. Get me at another time. Saturday nights, 8 to 9 p.m., WMCA, 570 AM, online. Just go to WMCA.com. Call me on the air. We can do apologetics till the cows come home. So for right now, I just want to focus on people who already accept this as the Bible. There's good news. There's some evidence, a lot of evidence that has come that once again, the Islamic world does not believe, will not accept any evidence. And then the rest of the world taking shape against Israel, these giant oppressors, they don't care about the evidence. Right now, they're interested in, well, they're blinded. I mean, the hatred of the Jewish people, and it just doesn't make any sense. It's satanic. It's the only thing you can say about it. And to say, well, you know, I'm not anti-Semitic, but I'm anti-Zionist. Really? Really? Well, how's that? What did you just say? I'm anti-Zionist, but I'm not anti-Semitic. Oh, really? Sure. Come on. Anyway, so let's answer the question. Is this true? Now, the Mormons, it's a cult. Mormonism is not Christian. Nice people, all the rest of that stuff, but it's another gospel. It's not the truth. They got a whole gigundous book of Mormon that names places and tribes and things and whatever. There's not one shred of evidence that it ever really existed. Okay, so been a challenge to Mormon apologists. They'll make up stuff, something. Okay, now, the stones are deer as evidence. Well, let's see. Okay. Jesus, Palm Sunday, right before he continues all the way down, he steps aside and he weeps over Jerusalem. And he predicts its destruction. Not one stone would be left standing upon another. Now, some, again, ill-informed, not too bright, have said that's never been fulfilled because the Western Wall is still up. Well, the Western Wall wasn't a part of the temple. It's a southern retaining wall. The temple proper is what Jesus was talking about. So be that as it may, this is a piece of a Herodian stone, 1 year by Jerusalem. The green things there, probably pop rocks or something I dropped on it. I don't know. But that's nothing. Like I said, don't rub this on your warts or your gray hair. It's not going to go away. But this is evidence of what Jesus said is true. And Herod, I mean, again, here's this evil guy, Herod, that did all these massive building projects that have been passed on as evidence to the times. Now, remember, not to beat a dead horse, Islam says there never was a temple. There never was a King David. These are all Jewish inventions. And then later they start picking on Christian inventions. Yeah, okay, we're the inventors. Anyway, here you go. Herodian stone all over the place. It's a matter of history what the Romans did. Now, a non-biblical but certainly relevant to the Jewish people is this thing here, this guy right over here. See this? Now, this is a gift from my old guide, Mika Ashkenazi. And now this is very, very valuable. I'm blessed and honored to receive something like this, but in Flavius Josephus, the historian, talking about Masada, that once the Romans breached the wall, or they knew that the Romans were coming, they all committed suicide. It's frowned upon in Jewish teaching, but no one speaks of these people with any kind of contempt or disrespect, really. Rather than be enslaved and have our children enslaved by the Romans, we will just do this. Now, again, it's not approved. Not approved. Better you should live and on like that, at any rate. This here is a piece of pottery from that time, and says, when 10 of them had been chosen by lot to be the executioners of the rest, so that the one who drew the lot should kill the 9, and last of all himself. This is a piece of those the pottery fragments with name written on it. Like I said, very, very valuable. Not, I don't mean financially, okay? All right? So, but in evidence and meaning, wow. History is history. Was there ever a Masada? I mean, it's always idiotic to even think about that. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get through a whole part 1 here and do this, because there's a lot here I'm trying to share with you as evidence. Again, this is something that's very, very old, not a replica. This is from the time of King David. And due to the recent excavations in Israel and Jerusalem, especially by the city of David, or Zion, a lot of this stuff's been found and amazingly preserved. I mean, this is the original. See that little burn mark there? That's from the original lamp. Wow. I mean, gotcha. But it's real. And I'm a good first baseman. That goes back in my Mrs. Museum. I'm not allowed to have this stuff around anything breakable. I mean, I don't understand why. All right, here we go. The Bible story. Okay, now this is a facsimile, a very small facsimile of the Pontius Pilate stone. Prior to 1961, people who assailed the Bible as non-historical have taken it on the chin, not that it's helped them much. But there never was a Pontius Pilate. I mean, the Romans were sticklers at keeping records. There's no mention of a Pontius Pilate. So the conclusion, the Bible's fantasy, it's myths. There never was a Pontius Pilate. Hello. Now, in Caesarea Philippi, by the sea, by the Med, there was the Pontius Pilate stone found in 1961. Can you believe it? Our guide, Mika Ashkenazi, was a big part of that dig. And so there you have evidence now. You got the guy's name, Pontius Pilate, and he's recommending all the stuff for Caesar. Again, the stones cry out, archaeology cries out. The believer does not need these kind of evidences, but if we're going to defend the faith, it's good to be able to have facts to fall back on. All right, I'm going to end this at this point, and stay tuned for part 2. It may be tonight, maybe tomorrow night, I don't know, but there's a lot in here, and I want to continue with this. Your faith is based on fact, history. You don't have to believe the history, but you can't deny its reality. We'll see you again real soon. Love you all.